GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show for people trying to turn internet tokens into beachfront property. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton. It's Wednesday, August the 6th, and today we're joined by the one and only VirtualBacon, a crypto angel investor, educator, developer, and fellow YouTuber. We're going to talk about where he sees us in the cycle right now. Look at Bitcoin dominance, look at altcoins. We just had a great mini altcoin season. Is this it? Is this the top? Or have we still got a lot longer to go? We're going to dive into that. We're also going to get his takes on his highest conviction tokens right now, where he sees edge, where he sees alpha that you could take advantage in your portfolio. And finally, we're going to touch on the SEC's Project Crypto. We talked about this in yesterday's episode, but I just feel like no one is grasping the magnitude of this announcement and of where this Project Crypto is going to go. So we're going to dive into why we believe this is such a big milestone and where the impact will be short-term, medium-term, and long-term. Before we jump in, if you guys are making swaps, which I know you are, highly recommend you check out Milk Road Swap, not only because it's our own product, which I believe is a great product, but more so because it's got some of the lowest fees you can find. Only 15 bips. That's 0.15% fees on trades on Ethereum, Arbitrum, and Base. And you can also trade on Solana. So go to swap.milkroad.com today. Today's episode is brought to you by Nexo, the platform that grows your crypto without locking it away. It's also brought to you by Figure Markets. Grow your cash like a bank. No lockups, just real returns. Without further ado, VirtualBacon, welcome to the Milk Road Show.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. Oh, I love to hear that. Love to hear that. Hopefully this is the first of many. Okay. Let's start with, you are super active in the markets. So probably nobody better to ask this question to. Where are we right now in this cycle? And how are you looking at this? Because what I'm seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing this too, is when we've got we had a great rip through July, right? Everything was green. And now we got this little pause and things are down. Some things are down. We're just kind of a bit range bound right now. But you get that instant freak out, right? You have a day where it's like your token's down 5%, 10%, maybe 15%. And I'm not saying we're not in a massive pullback or anything like that. But you start to get a lot of talk of, is this a top? Where are we? What's next, right? So how do you frame it? What's your view right now?
So the way I see it, this cycle is especially different when it comes to separation between Bitcoin and altcoins. When you look at Bitcoin, it's totally clear. It's just trending up. Every few months we have a chop, but it doesn't get into sustained bear. It's just slow bull. But for alts, it's especially different compared to the last two cycles, since alts have been a thing, that it's just very delayed. I'm in the camp that I believe we still have this Altseason coming up, more so like an altcoin year, which lasts multiple months, unlike the few blips that we've had. But it just hasn't happened. And people are feeling this now as we look back at the 4-year cycle. We are very late in the altcoin cycle. Typically, that first year past the halving event, altcoins should already be running faster than Bitcoin, but we haven't been there yet, and it's already been almost a year and a half since the last halving. So yeah, I think Bitcoin definitely still has more upside. Altcoins, you just have to be patient. You wait for the signals to actually fire for Bitcoin dominance, and then you take a more meaningful size of your chunk of your portfolio into alts.
Okay, so let's look at Bitcoin dominance. Let's take a look at that because you brought that up, and that is a key signal. Where are we at? What are you seeing here?
So basically, just to put the time frames on the charts, we have, I believe, at the Bitcoin halvings. Yeah, these are Bitcoin halving events. Usually, you see that. For my sake, I usually look at trends. So to confirm a trend on Bitcoin dominance of a downtrend, that's altcoin season. So a downtrend will be lower highs and lower lows. So then you look at 2017. Bitcoin dominance technically confirmed the downtrend right around here, when you had the first low and then first high, but it didn't bounce back all the way up. So that was around like 350 days past the halving. And then you have like 2021, again, pretty similar. So you have this like COVID blip. And then by around this period, this was clearly alt season already. That was around 350 days again, 335 days. But then this cycle, it just hasn't happened. So we are already, what is this, 450, 460 days past the halving. And we haven't had a weekly lower high and lower low. So this is so far just macro uptrend. That's why I think it will happen, but we need to wait, right? We need to wait for this kind of a thing to happen. We need to have a confirmed downtrend and at least take out this like 50-week SMA that we bounced from here when Trump won the election. And then we can talk seriously, okay, are we going to have a 6 to 12 month long alt season? So just a bit more patience. Altcoins are cheap, but if you are trying to front run this a little bit too aggressive, it has not been good because this thing keeps running up until we get a confirmed downtrend.
So patience is the key, which is never easy for investors, particularly crypto investors. All of us who lack patience and just desire 10, 100x constantly. And crypto Twitter doesn't help when everyone only talks about their wins and doesn't talk about their losses enough. When you will we get an altcoin season? Let me ask you that. Will we get an altcoin season, and will it be like past altcoin seasons?
So, okay, I'll answer the second question first, which is will it be like the past altcoin seasons? That I'm not sure because there's a big difference depending on who you ask. Some altcoin season indicators actually take it literally and say, do we have one season where altcoins outperform Bitcoin? In other words, 3 months. And that's pretty doable. Let's say, Bitcoin runs from here to 150K. Markets are going to be pretty euphoric and we can have like one quarter. But if we talk about seriously 2017 or 2021 altcoin performance, those lasted about a year where altcoins did well. And that timeline, I don't know if we can get that long anymore. Let's say even if we start today, we're looking at 2026, Q4 2026. If we get that, I mean, that truly will be a super cycle and super rally. And we need Bitcoin to have sustained euphoria for over a year. And I'm not sure if we can get that long. I'm leaning more in the camps of 3 to 6 months of a very fast, relatively shorter altcoin half year, so to speak. But technically, yeah, that's still altcoin season.
Doesn't have the same ring. Altcoin half year doesn't have the same ring as altcoin season.
Year just feels good.
but I think the overall point that you're making, and I completely agree with this. I don't think we have the timeline to run a full year anymore. But also, the main point I always want to make sure that our listeners understand is like when altcoins run, they run fast. Look at what just happened in the past month. We had a mini altcoin season, right? Like, and I get that like your definition of season we had an altcoin month, let's call it that, right? Where, yeah, there was altcoins massively outperforming Bitcoin, many of them, right? From the biggest in terms of Ethereum all the way down the stack. The only thing that I can't figure out is will we, as the crypto market matures, as we have more institutions present, as we have different buyers than we had in the past, will we get the same altcoin season where throw a dart at the board, any altcoin is going to rip? Or will it only be certain sectors of crypto? Because the thing we all have to remember is we have millions upon millions of tokens now. We did not have that in past cycles.
So I think there are two differences between this cycle versus last. First being what you said, it's so easy to make tokens now. Even from 2020, 2021, there were only like less than 10,000 total coins. And mostly it had to be like centralized exchange. But since, ICOs and since IDOs and DEXs become so popular, it's very hard. And especially for the newer coins, like if you don't catch the right timing to launch your coin right into altcoin season, and let's say altcoin months fades for 1 month away, your new coin is already be replaced by the new meme coins. So that's just how the current market is different. Yeah, I agree. Especially for newer things, low caps, it will be hard to throw a dart randomly and just say, okay, everything's going up the same percentage. I think the large caps, the ones that have established themselves not only in time, in persistence, in market cap, but also in kind of regulatory how they've been treated, the ones that have institutional ETFs, like those take much longer. And I think they will really start to separate themselves that
Mm.
from the rest of the things that can just be easily created.
Hmm. Interesting. Uh, I want to get into your high conviction tokens, and I'll be curious whether you're going low cap or high cap based upon that comment. But first, let's just take a look at, you had a couple other charts that you wanted to show around signals for altcoin season. Let's take a look at those.
Yeah, so just to maybe hammer on the point of how quick things can run. So you see this like green part. This is actually based on the Bitcoin cycles. So usually compared to last 4-year halvings, so to speak, the last bit of run up for Bitcoin is the most explosive, where you have Bitcoin essentially exploding from these euphoria periods towards the blow off top, and that's really when altcoins start to run. So I think couple scenarios: either we have a just by the end of this year, by the 4-year cycle standard, that Bitcoin just straight up rips to like 200k. If we go by the power law that has Bitcoin has followed for the last 4 cycles, then this kind of a scenario would bring us like immediate altcoin season, where just think of the euphoria, right? But if it doesn't happen that way, then it could be that Bitcoin continues to chop slowly, and then that's when we need more patience for altcoins. So yeah, so that's something I've been really contemplating a lot about. Do I think we will top by the end of this year in a very sharp euphoria, or are we looking at next year? And if we are looking at next year, then we got to look at other indicators. For example, like global liquidity is slowly trending up, but it hasn't been there yet. And global liquidity really has been dominating in terms of how Bitcoin dominance performs. So we need global liquidity to sustainably trend up, like
Mhm. Let me just
2020,
jump
right?
in quickly and say that we had Michael Howell on the podcast yesterday. So if anybody wants an update on global liquidity, go back and listen to that episode, because he did an incredible job breaking down where we are and where we're going.
For sure, yeah. I Google his stuff, and I follow his Substack every single week
It's the
just for the
best.
updates. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
best. Yeah, but I think it's way more about a liquidity cycle. So
Mhm.
I lean on the camp of this.
Okay. So yeah. So where I'm leaning into the camp that we go into next year. I don't think it's just this year. That's what you're saying too. You think we
Yeah,
go into
exactly.
next year.
So
Yeah.
for the people that are already starting to feel like they're going to miss the immediate gain, there's a chance for that to happen, but the main catalyst there would be Bitcoin going up way faster than it has for the past couple of years, and actually giving us a blow off top in this like 4-year cycle style. And look at this green part. We're talking about like by Q end of this year, Bitcoin needs to go to 200k. If that happens, then yeah, global liquidity doesn't matter as much anymore, because
Mhm.
liquidity doesn't move that quickly. Instead, people just have so much more money from Bitcoin and they just ape alts like last cycles.
Mhm.
But if Bitcoin runs more slowly into next year, then the 4-year cycle theory is kind of over, and then we
Mhm.
need to look at liquidity.
Okay. So, as we prep for the coming altcoin season, we don't know when it's going to come. Guys, pay attention to Bitcoin dominance, to some of these stats and signals that Dennis has been taking us through today. But big question here is, where's the edge? Where's the alpha? When we get there, where's the opportunity? What tokens, what narratives do you like?
So I think this is again the institution cycle, the US regulator cycle, the Wall
Mhm.
Street cycle. So what do they like? They like tokenization. They like stablecoins. Look at the bills that they have passed, right? Look at what the SEC is saying that they favor. I think also look at what Trump is doing with his family, with his family office, with the deals that he's been making. I really like stablecoin issuers. I like the clarity around DeFi this year and DeFi super apps,
Mhm.
especially from Project Crypto. We'll talk about in a bit. So I think all of that will surround a couple of things: World Liberty, what the Trump family office is directly launching. I think so. In that umbrella brand, they have their stablecoin issuer. They have DeFi super app allowing people to lend, borrow, swap, bridge across chains all in one. I think these are super slept on right now. So yeah, I think that's going to be the next big narrative.
So are you, what tokens are are the opportunities within that?
First of all, even right now, I think World Liberty pre-market, trading at
Right, because it
what
hasn't TGE'd yet,
it
right?
hasn't
World Liberty.
TGE'd yet, but from their official, governance proposal things, they did say it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks away from about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So it will
Okay.
be like 1.5 months to go, pretty soon. And I think this is $100 billion coin, FDV. Just look
You
at the
think
Trump
so?
meme. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The Trump meme's a good
Trump
point.
meme was 73 billion. And it was like one tweet from the president. And again, this is before he came into office. Like imagine now, and also they have this real utility coin. They have
Yeah.
actual ways to bring liquidity, to bring they have a reason to do this because it's backed by U.S. Treasuries. It's the biggest reason, the biggest problem for the U.S. government. So
Mhm.
there's no reason for them to not do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It's just another vehicle for them to make deals to help fund their treasuries. So yeah, I think it's 100 billion, is barely bigger than the Trump meme coin
So
at peak.
for our listeners, is the what's the opportunity for them? Is there a pre TGE opportunity, or is it wait for TGE and buy early?
So I covered this a little bit. If you want to take part in pre-market, the best place is probably Whales Market. It's a self-custodial DeFi platform. People trade against each other, put down their collateral. The thing is, on there, this coin is trading at around 20 billion FDV right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it works is let's say you put $100 of collateral, you buy someone else's TG tokens. They can choose to not send you the tokens and instead just give up their collateral. So you might end up only making 2x if the coin goes up higher than 2x
Mm.
from current pre-TG price. But yeah, there's something there. I'm looking at some of the projects that are confirmed to be working with World Liberty, powering some
Okay.
of their things, founded by World Liberty advisors, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us more about
So
those.
yeah, so I have a couple. So there's one called Block Street. This is one that's founded by a core advisor to World Liberty. They are basically the main launchpad for USD1. So bringing USD1 across all the EVM chains and launching projects to pair their LP with USD1.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they have a lot of deal flow access to World Liberty because of that advisory relationship.
Do they have a
And
token?
yeah, they have it's just called Block
Block.
Street. Yeah,
Block is the token.
Block.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people have been talking about this, especially like every time World Liberty has a governance proposal thing, people use this as kind of the main beta.
Okay.
There's
100 million market cap.
100
So small
million
token.
market cap.
Small token.
Yeah, 220 FTV. Not too bad. Like not
Yeah.
super low
Not.
cap.
Yeah. Not. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then there is Dolomite. This is
Mm.
a lending borrowing platform that the creator of Dolomite, Corey Kaplan, he's actually the CTO of World Liberty. So yeah, you don't have to connect the dots anymore. You basically just yeah. So it's pretty clear. And the World Liberty, the multi-sig, has interacted with Dolomite doing on chain like protocol just lending borrowing, even though they haven't announced anything. So Those are all public things you can directly find. So yeah, I have these two coins as the main betas, and they're roughly both around 100 million market cap, so not too bad.
If long meetings and judgmental bankers are your thing, Nexo's probably not. Nexo is a premier wealth platform built for people who value their time and money. It's built for people who have idle cash lying around and want it to grow fast. Whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or even Forex-pegged assets like USDT or USDC, Nexo offers up to 14% annual interest and access to crypto-backed credit in under 24 hours. Your assets need a platform built for growth. Join Nexo.
Why do people invest in real estate? Because it spits off cash flow. But I'm not here to manage rental properties. That's why I'm looking at Figure Markets. Their new democratized prime product backs your money with real cash flowing assets and returns up to 9% APY. It's the first real world asset borrow lend pool built for everyone, not just institutions. Ready to lend like a bank and get more than the 5% Aave is offering you? Download the Figure Markets app today and get 9% on your idle funds. Go to milkroad.com/Figure Markets. Okay. I want to go back to stablecoins. Everybody likes stablecoins. Everybody gets it, right? And everybody knows it's early. You know, we've got a long way to go. We're going to have trillions in stablecoins. I don't think there's any debate there. The timeline you can debate, right? How quickly that'll happen. Obviously, with all the regulation coming, I think we could see an expedite of that process. Which tokens do you like for stablecoins, or do you like Circle on the public equity side?
So barring WLFI, which is basically based on the potential of their USD1 market cap, I think you gotta look at what Tether is doing. So Tether is still going to have huge dominance. Tether 160 billion, Circle or USDC 65, right? You have Ethereum, etc. So there is the gap between Tether, USDC, and the rest are huge. It's very hard for these DeFi native ones to close. I think the only exception would be World Liberty because they do deals directly with the government. But Tether has a couple chains that they're launching that they are like semi-backing. There's Plasma. You probably have heard of their ICO. There's stable.xyz. Both of these specifically work for Tether in the sense that you don't need gas. You use Tether as gas. And they're apparently like super fast, meant for Tether trading. And you can look at Tron. So after Genius
Act... I was just
going
to ask that, yeah.
Yeah, after the Genius Act was passed, technically the offshore parts of Tether are no longer allowed, like regulated. But Tron themselves have worked even more with Tether. They've been minting a lot more. And Tether have said that they want to bring a lot more of the offshore parts onshore into the US again and issue another version, another like subsidiary, something. So I think there's something there. Either it's one of these Tether-backed chains that's close relationship with Tron, that they're going to migrate some of that TRC20 stuff over, or maybe it's like a joint venture or something, but something will come out of this in a kind of DeFi format. Whatever Tether has the biggest push in, because Tether doesn't plan to go IPO, that's what they've said. So I think there's opportunity there. Circle, yeah, pretty safe bet, but it's pretty big already. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the other ones, MakerDAO or Ethereum. Yeah,
interesting. Why not?
Yeah. It's just it's very hard for them to move up in supply, in market cap. Like going from Ethereum's 10 billion USD to 60, you gotta look at their core business model. Like they're DeFi driven, they're yield driven, and yeah, their yield arbitrage is high, but there's only a certain appetite for how many billions are willing to pour into like arbitrage strategy for funding trade on Ethereum. And for MakerDAO's case, it's half decentralized USDC. So yeah, you might as well just be in Circle. Yeah, so I would look big and look at what Tether is bringing up next.
Okay. So you like World Liberty and the ecosystem around that, the partners within that, and then Tether, and the beta plays for Tether would be Tron, maybe some of the new projects that Tether is partnering with that you mentioned. Okay. Any other? I want to talk about Project Crypto and the impact of that, but is there any other high conviction tokens before we move on to Project Crypto?
Yeah, I like this coin called DeFi app. It's very closely related to Project Crypto just because they're really introducing just friendly regulation for all-in-one custody solutions that handles trading, handles lending, borrowing, on-off ramping, no gas, but in a DeFi sense, not in a centralized exchange sense. This is one of the main ones I've been using and tracking. So just something to highlight.
What's the token for DeFi app? What's the ticker?
It's called Home, HOME. Yeah.
Okay. And what's it trading at right now? About 100 million. Wow,
100 million.
You're very consistent in your market cap.
Not too low, not too high, just in that range.
Okay. Let's use that as a jumping off point into Project Crypto.
Yeah. So
let me ask the question here, which is, why is Project Crypto such a big deal?
I think it's a just total shift. And what made the SEC take this complete 180? It's a real 180. And this has been like 8 years in the making. Ever since ICOs were a thing, they never were positive ICOs. I've been in crypto since 2017, like ICO days. It has always been kind of an uphill battle. Even when it was a gray area, they never technically said, oh, you can just issue some, use this funding mechanism, and then we want to support you in your innovation in official sense. But now they do. So Project Crypto, for those that haven't caught up, is this recent speech and in this agency-wide initiative that they want to pass multiple bills to help crypto in the SEC. So a few different, I want to say 3 different areas that it helps. First of all, we talked about ICOs. So they said you can do ICOs, basically. You can do airdrops, you can do token distribution. And they don't want to cut out both participants in the US and projects in the US. So if you're a participant in the US, you don't have to KYC, do VPN, IP blocking, none of that anymore. And for projects, you can totally have a US entity and issue ICOs, issue airdrops. There will be clear guidelines for you to do so. Mm-hmm. And there is no longer like these like weird regulation D, 1 year cliff type of things you have to go through and potentially fear that the SEC is going to come after you. So that's the first major one for ICOs. Like we're all going to have public sale opportunities that we can just easily participate in.
Thank the Lord. About time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. What's the second one?
Second would be the super app. So they have this, what is this called? Facilitating super apps, horizontal integration product offerings. So this benefits both exchanges and something like the DeFi app that I talked about, which is just all-in-one apps. So if you're a trader in the US, it's super complicated, right? You have to look at all the different exchanges. Okay, you want to do some spot, you can use Coinbase, crypto.com. But if you want to do perps, you then have to transfer those to somewhere else. And then maybe those will block you in 6 months, and then you have to use another one. And then if you want to do IDO, you have to transfer to another exchange. Because the SEC historically has had one license for each exchange in every state. And then if you want to do lending borrowing, it's another license. For ICOs, it's not allowed. For perps, not allowed. It's like 100 different licenses. So now they want to do this all-in-one license for super apps where, like Binance, for example, they want to come in. You can offer perps, you can offer spot, you can offer ICOs, you can offer lending borrowing, all allowed. All-in-one, streamlined, so everyone can just actually use the best platform with the most liquidity and make it very easy. So super good.
Okay. And what's the third?
The third would be DeFi, yeah, DeFi, custody, just really doing things on chain, unleashing US markets on chain.
Mm-hmm.
In here, it's pretty crazy. They actually mentioned automated market makers specifically. So this is Uniswap. This is the swaps. This is Jupiter, Radium, anything that has to do with AMMs. You swap tokens on chain. They want to make these things fully self-custodial, and they want to classify it as not a money broker. So all of these 3 paragraphs is to say that they recognize a smart contract based exchange as not an intermediary, and they don't want to force them to have to register as a money broker when literally it's all just decentralized. It's people trading against each other. There's no middleman. So they want to fully allow that, and they want to change the rules in the upcoming bills to make it that all these systems can fully function in the US. And if they want to have some sort of governance, some fee sharing, whatever, that will be able to be introduced as well.
When do you think the impact of something like Project Crypto, which, as you said, really right now, it's a speech and a report, a document that explains what they want to do, what they want to try to do. When does the impact of something like this get felt in the market?
That's interesting. So I think the exchanges side, the super apps, is already getting felt. We have some exchanges moving back into the US right on the day of this. Gate, I believe, has reopened their Gate US. So they were pre-planning this. I think all of the US subsidiaries will open up soon. Coinbase has their perps that they plan to launch soon in the US. Very soon you can trade Bitcoin ETH on leverage on Coinbase for US, this has been banned since forever. So the exchange side is opening up very soon, like even this month. The DeFi side, it's technically pretty okay. I think this is pretty easy as well. It's just a matter of them saying, okay, we're not going to go after you. And then the DeFi stuff they can turn on the fee sharing, and they can have their tokens, whatever they want to do. When it comes to the ICO stuff, I haven't seen it yet. That one, I'm not so sure. I'm still monitoring. I think it'll take some big scale races first. If we see, crypto Twitter, all of a sudden we see like few different projects opt to do ICOs instead of like $20 million seed rounds from VCs, then we can all have a very good time. I haven't seen that yet. I think it's probably the most iffy one, if we're going to get that immediately or not.
That's what I'm looking for all of us to have a very good time. And I know you guys listening are looking for that too. So, it's coming. It's coming. And it's coming with a little bit of sizzled bacon on top, because everybody loves the good bacon. That's for sure. Before we let you go, Virtual Bacon, I want to make sure that we give our audience a chance to go follow you. So if you're not following Virtual Bacon on X, make sure you do so at VirtualBacon0x. And he's got tons of great content and lots of great alpha. So check him out. Thanks so much for joining us today. I think we got to get you back when World Liberty does TGE. That feels like a good time to get you back, to maybe either just before to talk about if you think it's a good TGE, or just after to talk about expectations and how it goes. What do you think?
Of course, yeah. I'm super excited and my bags are packed. Let's see how it plays out. I'm very curious.
All right. I love it. Thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening, y'all. I got to remind you, as always, that none of today's episode is financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. Virtual Bacon is not your financial advisor. If you need help with your investments, you should speak to a professional. This episode is for education and informational purposes only. And if you are making swaps, as I said at the beginning, check out Milk Road Swap at swap.milkroad.com for some of the cheapest fees in this space. Have a great day, y'all. We'll see you back again tomorrow. Crypto still has two major problems. First, a lack of privacy. On-chain transactions are public by default. Second, using your most valuable tokens for everyday actions feels wasteful. Midnight solves both with a dual token system. Night is your store of value, designed to hold. Dust is what you spend, a private renewable resource used to fuel on-chain activity. You generate dust by holding Night. That means your value stays intact while your actions stay private. No more burning your bags, no more exposing your wallet to the world. And now the Night airdrop is live. Go to midnight.gd to claim yours and explore the ecosystem. Secure your spot before the Glacier airdrop phase ends. Check it out today. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your number one resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.